Michael Conlan has retired from the sport of boxing. He announced this last night after his split decision loss to Kevin Walsh at the SSE Arena in Belfast. And I can't say I'm surprised, but I was a little bit taken aback by how abrupt it was in the way he did it. But on second thought and after reflection, how can I pee after, this is Michael Conlan we're talking about. It's not like the type of guy who's going to hold back and think about what he says. Like he says it how he shoots from the hip. Cue the 2016 Olympics. So yeah, I'm saddened by this decision, but I think it's the right one. It's like the sad reality of boxing is that sometimes you just fall short of the mark. His dream was to become a Olympic gold medalist. He wasn't able to achieve that. That was kind of stolen from him. Not kind of, it was properly stolen from him. And then his new dream was to become a world champion, and he never completed that. He always was so close. He was a WBA interim featherweight champion, not a kind of fully loaded one, just like he is a bronze medalist, which a lot of people wouldn't know, that he was a bronze medalist at the 2012 Olympics, because most people only started following and know him from the 2016 Olympics. But he's got a lot to be proud of. A huge fan base in Ireland, both North and South, or both Northern and Republic of Ireland, and around the world. I'm South African living in the UK, and I adore him. I think he was great for boxing, because boxing needs characters, boxing needs personality, boxing needs guys with charisma, real warriors who go out on their shields, and that's exactly what he did. He shot for the moon. He really did his best, and he was a good fighter. He was fun to watch. I always enjoyed watching him fight. You never really felt that comfortable when he was up against the high caliber opposition, and he won some and he lost some, but he always made it competitive. Think about fights with the likes of Lee Wood. He knocked Lee Wood down and was arguably winning that fight up until the 11th round. So yeah, look, Michael Conlan, let's give him his flowers. He started boxing really young. He's from a boxing family. His brother Jamie was a decorated amateur, over 120 fights, and also a former world title challenger at super flyweight. And yeah, he's done really well in the amateur games. He's a gold medalist at the Commonwealth Games. He was a gold medalist at the World Amateur Championships of 2015. Also won the RTE Sports Personality of the Year in Ireland, which is a huge achievement if you think about the sporting talent in Ireland across the board. And yeah, he won the 2012 bronze medal at the Olympics. He ended up losing to Rabisi Ramirez, the Cuban gold medalist, so eventual gold medalist of that game. So credit where credit's due, but that's an achievement in and of itself, a huge one. And in South Africa we celebrate a bronze medalist because you medaled. It's an amazing achievement. Even to get into the Olympics is an amazing achievement. And then the 2016 Olympics, what happens there? He shoots to superstar fame, infamous, shall we say, because of his reaction to being robbed, daylight robbery. He fought a guy called Vladimir Nikitin in the quarterfinals, and he beat him, resoundingly beat him. He actually gave him a real thrashing, so much so that Vladimir Nikitin didn't make the semi-finals, even though he was awarded the victory by terrible judging. But he had sustained such heavy injuries that he couldn't progress in the tournament. And I think what kind of itches the most is the fact that had he been granted the rightful decision, which was the victory, he would have been a two-time Olympic medalist for Ireland, which would have put him in the history books again. And he also could have won gold in that, because he wouldn't have been up against someone like Robisi Ramirez, who was also touted to be the winner, the favorite at the 2012 Olympics. So he probably had maybe a softer run to get that gold medal, which he wanted so badly. Anyway, that dream was stolen from him. So he's known for flipping the bird to the judges, and for his post-fight interview where he was kind of super emotional and super honest about stuff that we were all seeing right before our eyes. And if you see injustice, you need to call it out, and that's exactly what he did. So steamrolled the judges there and gained massive exposure, media exposure, and fans. And I think the decision off the back of that, the decision to go pro, meant that he was offered hugely lucrative contracts by a number of different promotional companies and management companies around the world. And it ended up being Bob Arum's top rank that got the signature. And in 2017, he's walking out with Conor McGregor, who was at the height of his fame, and being walked out to the theatre, Madison Square Gardens, headlining that. I mean, no amateurs only dream of turning pro in that fashion. And very few amateurs who have had the careers that he's had, who've been decorated champions and had won medals at prestigious tournaments, can even boast that they were headlining shows in their first outing. I mean, it's almost unheard of. So you have to be a huge personality and a huge draw, and that's exactly what he is. And I would hope that he's made a good deal of money, because boxing is not kind, especially from a business perspective. You have to be ruthless, as we've seen so much in the recent media about fighters making decisions for the betterment of their family and to try and create generational wealth. So I would hope that he, especially coming from the smaller weight classes where the money isn't kind of thrown at you, it's really important that he's done that. But yeah, I mean, he's gone on to really big fights. I mean, he won the WBA interim featherweight title, and that was like kind of the next dream, the next focus, to win a world championship, because the Olympics were behind him now, and he'd moved on. So he kind of climbed the ranks. He was matched well, but he also fought some good competition, and he got up to WBA featherweight interim champion by beating TJ Doheny, and then he fought Lee Wood, and he was winning that fight. He was doing really well. He'd knocked Lee Wood down, but Lee Wood himself is he's a massive heart and a real warrior. So there's two warriors against each other, and he knocked Michael Conlan down in the 11th round, and I think everyone was a bit worried because it was a really good shot, and it was like, can he take a good shot? Let's see the test of his mettle. And the 12th round, Lee Wood just stepped up the gears, knocked Michael Conlan straight out the ring, and that was that dream was over. So he had to rebuild from there. He ended up fighting Luis Lopez, and lost that by knockout. And then it was his back-to-back losses that I think really did it for his career. He lost to Luis Lopez for the IBF featherweight title. Or was it the super featherweight title? But then he went into the next fight against Jordan Gill. Maybe a step too soon to fight someone like Jordan Gill, who himself is a really good fighter. But if he wants to be a world champion, he's probably thinking, I've got to beat Jordan Gill and get my stock up again. And he lost that as well. So I think that really damaged his reputation and his kind of, his world-class status was lost. So he had to slowly kind of build himself up, and he took a bit of time off. I think it was a good 15-month layoff, and came back, and now he's fought Kevin Walsh. And he said himself, like, I've lost by split decision, but even if I won, by split decision, if it wasn't a proper, well-deserved victory, then he knew that if he couldn't beat someone like Kevin Walsh resoundly, he wasn't going to win a world title. So it was probably time to call it a day. And I just want to salute Michael Conlan for the career he's had and the fights that he's given us fans, and just say a massive respect to him. He'll always go down in as one of Ireland's greatest fighters, especially for what he's achieved in amateurs, but just for the person that he is. And he was a nice guy. You know, he always had time for interviews, and you know, he had a lot of spice and a bit of a spike to him as well, but that's what we needed in boxing. And yeah, hopefully he goes on to have a successful period after boxing. And yeah, let me know what you think about Michael Conlan, his decision to retire, and yeah, what you think of the video, the content. Like and subscribe, and have a great Saturday.